14-point lead to the Adelaide Crows. They're doing it pretty nicely at the moment, but it is shaping as a very tight clash. Well, Doug Hawkins has caught up with a very familiar face here at Optus Oval. He's latched hold of Blue Star Matthew Lappin. How you going, Dougie?
Yeah, good, Jace. Matty, first of all, the old question, mate. Obviously, you're injured. What is the problem and how long will you be out of footy for, mate?
I slightly strained my medial ligament last week in the first quarter against the Bulldogs, and I've had this week off, hopefully with a bit of training next week. I may get up for next week's game against Brisbane. If not, it'll be the week after that for sure.
Now, Matty, on today's performance, I mean, of course, with Aaron Hamill leaving the club going to St Kilda, we all knew there'd be a lot of pressure on Lance Whitnell. Today it appears that way, even though he's been pretty good. Where else can you see the goals coming from in the Carlton forward line? I know you kick a lot of goals yourself, but where else, in your opinion?
I think we're going to try a few things this year with big Mark Porter down there. Hopefully he'll be able to take a few marks, and if we can improve his kicking, he might be able to get a few. And another guy who's really got a lot of potential, he's not quite having the best of days yet today, but he'll probably come out and kick 5 in the second half. That's Brendan Favola. He's one of those sort of players where, you know, you never know what you're going to get because he's so young and he's a bit inconsistent. But, you know, today the ball's not coming down there so well, so they're probably not delivering the ball in the way it needs to be delivered for big scores. But, you know, we'll cover the loss of Aaron pretty well, I think.
Matty, Wayne Britton, first time solely in charge of the Blues. How have you found his pre-season? Has it differed from previous years?
No, not really. Brits has taken the last couple of pre-seasons pretty much anyway under the guidance of David Parkin, so things haven't changed too much. And, you know, we've sort of been playing to his game plan and David Parkin's game plan for a few years now, so the boys are pretty used to the way Wayne coaches, and you know, the boys have had a good pre-season and everyone's fit, and once we get everyone back from injury, we should be going up and going well.
And Matty, with the team, some new players at the club, Jimmy Plunkett in particular has played well last week and impressive the first half again today, plus the players here last year, Ryan Houlihan. How are they shaping up, and any other new players who you might want to mention while you're here today?
Yeah, I think Ryan's really going to be a quality footballer. You can tell the way he just moves around the ground that he, you know, he's got what it takes. And Jimmy's a bit of an in and under player who's got his chance here in the pre-season competition. And Brits has always been a big fan of his, so you know, he's getting a chance, and hopefully he'll be up to the task. But we drafted pretty well this year. We got a lot of young kids. Unfortunately, a couple of them are carrying injuries, but we're hoping that they'll come up good in the next 2 or 3 years for us.
Matty, just talking about a couple of injuries more serious from last year, a legacy of a tough season, Anthony Koutafidis and Steve Silvani. How are they progressing and when might we see them? Yeah,
I did rehab this morning with those two guys, and I think Silvani's going really well. They're just holding him back just to make sure, but he should be up and going for the first round. And Kouta's probably the big question. You know, I mean, he's looked like he's been ready to go a couple of times, and then, you know, he's had a little abdominal injury or something that's held him back. But I think the aim is to have them both up and going for round 1 against Fremantle, and if we can get that, then we'll be more than happy.
The 2001 AFL Ansett Cup, live tonight at 7:30. The West
here at Optus Oval in preparation for the third quarter. The Adelaide Crows leading by 14 points. Doug Hawkins is our man down on the boundary, and I wonder if he flashed that cheeky smile at the attendants on the rooms and wormed his way into the rooms to find out what was going on at half-time, Douglas. Yeah, well, Jace, I haven't changed my opinion at this stage. At the start of the game, I certainly did tip Carlton. Adelaide have been terrific. Well, they have been great. I said at the start of the game that Matthew Clark need to do a great job in the ruck. He has been absolutely terrific, really. And, you know, for Carlton to certainly win this game, Matthew Allen and Mark Porter, who I'm a big rap for, as is Malcolm Blight. He's got a great pair of hands, young Porter. And, of course, with Craig Bradley coming back on the ground, add that bit more to the midfield, because Camporelli's been the lone hand. He's been outstanding, even though Jimmy Plunkett's been pretty good. And, of course, the big surprise with Bassett down in the forward line. It's been pretty good for him down there for the Adelaide Crows. Robler must take a few more marks from down in their forward line. But for me, Jace, I'm staying with Carlton. I think they should overrun Adelaide in this second half. Good on you, Dougie, and certainly Camporelli had plenty of the ball, 20 touches in the first half, but you would have to say overall the Adelaide Crows have won the centre square duels. Matthew Clark doing a particularly good job. We'll see if he can continue that against Matty Allen.
Well, inside 50, very interesting, 34-19 in favour of the Adelaide Crows, and they lead 7-7-49 to 5-5-35. They've really taken up to the Blues in this second round match of the Ansett Cup. Blues coming off a big win against the Western Bulldogs. And, of course, last week the Crows, very, very disappointing down in New Zealand. But they've bounced back today. They haven't got Risciuto or Vardy or Hart, Marsh or Johnson. And, of course, Brett Burton we saw interviewed earlier in the game. No Silvani, Koutafidis and Ratton, Lappin and Franchina for Carlton. So some big names out of both sides. So I dare say the ledge is fairly square. So the Adelaide Crows just trying to redeem themselves from last week. And also just during the week, Barry, the talk that Gary Ayres is favourite to be, you know, the sacked coach out of all the coaches at the moment. That might have just got him fired up a little bit.
I'm sure it would, and Gary would be pretty keen to do well today with all that pressure on him from a few weeks ago. So it's a good performance the first half.
A couple of seasons they've been out of the finals now. Robran concedes ground, gives it across to Beckley. No longer the skipper to McGregor. Doug Hawkins feels has shown a bit today across the half-back line. Looking for Stenglein. Now Scher pounces on the ball. I think he's been pretty impressive. Goes short to Smart right on 50. He's trying to drill it. This is close. And Manton, desperate play, right on the line, punches it through for a behind.
That's brilliant work, Glenn Manton. I mean, Nathan Bassett was doing his utmost to shepherd the ball through, and he somehow managed just to get one of those long arms over the shoulder of Nathan Bassett and make good contact with the ball. It was a good-looking kick coming in from Nigel Smart. He just punched the ball in low, and that's a great spoil.
Well, Nigel Smart's the only player left from that first team that played with the Adelaide Crows. 3 times he's been All-Australian over 200 games.
Played on him that day, KB, and he flogged me.
Well, he's the last remaining player from that famous game.
Can't die soon enough for me.
Dermot Brereton got reported, didn't he? And got, I think, was it Craig?
6 weeks, yeah.
Chris McDermott.
That's right.
Got suspended for 6 weeks, and there's, speak of the man, Smart. Crashing his way through, that time was Whitnell. Taken away by Sicko Alla. Just pumps the ball back inside 50. Allen, always building the wall. Hickmott. Looks to be in good early touch. This is a good kick, finds Hume. Kicked the goal in that second quarter. Loves to take him on. Bangs the ball deep into the forward line, backing back. Clark should have taken the mark. Bradley will kick a goal.
The old master at it there again, Craig Bradley. Certainly seen Hume, great running from the laterally across from the centre half back across to the wing, and he could have used Craig Bradley.
He could have.
Bradley's actually moved across towards the half forward flank for a lead, but instead he went direct to the full forward. And then, of course, Craig just sort of turned around, wheeled around, front and square, or front and side, really, dribbled it through. So very good experience from Craig Bradley there, and great running from both Hume and Craig Bradley also.
Let's go down to Dougie Hawkins. He's on the boundary line. Who's on the bench for the Crows?
On the bench for the Crows, KB, we've got James Byrne, Robert Shirley, Scott Welsh, Rhett Biglands, Chris Laddams and Stuart Bound.
And we did see the Matthew Clark there. Just didn't get his hands on the ball. It virtually went straight through his hands. Camporelli just continues to win the ball. Coming off a fantastic year last year. He's going to continue on in that same vein. Whitnell tried to be a little bit clever. Hickmott put his body on the line. Rice always tough at the ball. Tyson Edwards did well to Gallagher. So they fight hard across half-back. It was Crowell who pumped the ball back. It's going to Ben Nelson. Camporelli, 22 possessions so far. So he's playing a lone hand in the midfield. Allen, high ball, big pack of players. Blues need a crummer. Stevens heads towards the line. Freeborn. Got the kind bounce he wanted, keeps the ball alive, goes short to Rice, the veteran.
Vision.
Finds Fletcher.
It's been a real find, Simon Fletcher, the last couple of years. You mentioned earlier on that he really had a good year last year, and for a young guy, he's about 23, 24 years old at the most, a very impressive player. He's an on-baller and also a smart player. And he had a lot of injuries initially in his career, coming from Geelong, but now he's come to Carlton, he's found another life, and it's great that he's going well.
Well, he's been playing on the wing half-back, a bit of a role midfield. Can he be a goal kicker? He's missed. The Crows, 7-8-50. The Blues, 6-6-42. Who's on the bench for the Blues, Doug?
KB, we've got Murray Vance, Andrew Merrington, Heath Colpert, Ryan Houlihan, Jimmy Plunkett and Adam Pickering.
Crowell to bring the ball back into play, goes long, looking for McGregor. Should have taken the mark. Just a young player, still making his way, but you've got to make certain that when you get your hands on the ball, particularly in key defensive posts, that you hang on to it. Christou just pumps the ball back to Beaumont. It was good vision. Good play by Stenglen. Just a bit
brilliant.
too tall for Hume. Numbers went out. 2 against 1. Make that 3 against 1. Great smother by Stenglen. Should have been rewarded. Freeborn. Now the tackler. Hume was held. And we'll get the free kick.
It's bad luck, wasn't it? They were great pressure Adelaide Crows in 2 instances there, where they tackle and a smother.
Stenglein was great.
Yeah.
2-on-1, outnumbered, and he just fought tooth and nail to hold the ball up on the outer wing.
Matthew Allen. Just his 3rd mark for the game. Ange Christou loves to kick the ball long for Vola from behind. Crowell done some nice things in defence. Goodwin always has that great vision. Finds Robin. He's going to run hard. He wants to draw an opponent. Does it well to Bode. Edge of the centre square. Perry's going to be the target. Christou from behind. Did well. Made it a contest. Great at ground level. McKay will clean up to Hume. On the rebound, the Blues. Should have ran his full distance before bouncing the ball. Hume kicks the ball now under pressure. Back towards Bradley. Opponent too tall. Rice on hands and knees. There's Stenglein again. Done some great things today, particularly under pressure. They go short. Perry off hands. That came from Bode. Christou to Allen. So that last line of defence, the Blues standing up in this 3rd term. They trail 50-42. They're down by 8 points. They trailed by 6 points at quarter time, 16 points at half time. Starting to drag it back. Rice. Some strong arm tactics from half back. It's a poor kick. Shirley playing in front. That big fist came away from Whitnell. Across half back, Clark to Smart. And Massey does very, very well. He's had the job all day on Darren Jarman. He's only had it 7 times. Massey himself 4 times. But it's a good learning curve for young Massey. Last year struggled to really cement a place in the Carlton side. Did play in their grand final side in '99. Sikoela runs to 50. It's a tough angle. It's a poor kick.
It was an important shot for goal, I think, because Adelaide were leading by 4 goals in the 30-minute mark of the 2nd quarter, and now all of a sudden the Blues got the last 3 goals, so they only trail by 8 or 9 points now. So there's certainly a very important shot on goal, and Gary Ayres in the box we saw then would have been hoping he would have gone through for the goal.
Is he a cool, calm, collected coach, Gary Ayres?
He can be,
Can he be a bit vocal?
Can be also.
Fletcher.
Is there a coach that isn't vocal?
That's right.
To Ange Christou. He's had it 16 times and 2 marks, Ange, today. Reports are that he's fitting well. Beaumont towards centre half forward. McGregor again got his hands to the ball. Burrows in after it, does well. Some strong tackling. Smart. He is clever. Always got great presence of mind. Standing under the ball was Beaumont. Dropped it. They'll pile on top. And a ball up on centre wing.
And they're the balls you hate, don't you? Sitting there waiting for like 5 minutes or seems like when you're standing there and
you know the traffic's coming, don't you?
Just expecting that crunch. 7-9-51 Adelaide. Carlton 6-6-42. Within 9 points. Crows have done well today. Carlton certainly clear favourites to win this game. Bickley back towards the half forward line. Christou. Well, he's nearly been impassable across half back. Always kicks the ball long. This time lands in the arms of McLeod, who started well, but has drifted out of the game in that 2nd quarter. Taken by Bode. Edge of the centre square. Bassett's the target. He's got it. Was he pulled off the ball? Wasn't paid. Hickmott. Back to Houghton. Pinpoints it to Rice. Now he's got Favola on centre wing. He can just run onto the ball. He does it well. Whitnell always plays in front. Always attacks the ball. The kick from Favola was a poor one. Numbers went out. Sure did well.
Surely that's too high.
Good tackle though. Forced the error. Crow on centre wing. Touch of pace. Kicks a high ball back towards centre half forward. Biglands Big jump. Hickmott. Just a bit more purpose across half back now for the Blues. Freeborn. Takes on Bode. Kicks to a one-on-one contest. He's looking for Camporelli. Robin can set it up to Jarman. Touch of magic maybe to Bode. He'll need a kind bounce. Traps it on 50. Needs support. 3 against 1. Crunched. Surely, was that in the back?
I think he ducked his head, I think. So
Was he tackled from behind?
Well, I think he was spinning and turning. It was a pretty good tackle in the end.
Decision.
He didn't have much option. He was outnumbered 3-1.
Can't push in the back, though. Bradley. Short to Hickmott. Keeps the ball alive. Bassett. It's been handy up forward. Hands Christou. Well, he's back. No doubt about that. High ball, Camporelli. He's got it on centre wing. 23 possessions to Camporelli. Beautiful kick. Finds Whitnell.
Well, that's just a beautiful pass, but Lance Whitnell he was in motion, he was running towards goals, he just cropped, turned around, came on the short lead, and Camporelli, whose reward for that pass looks to be coming off to have a bit of a spell, just delivered the ball beautifully. Just punched it in low, nothing a defender can do about that.
Well, Lance Whitnell's kicked 2 goals, both goals coming in the second term. Directly in front, kicking down to the Robert Heatley stand. Whitnell has pushed it right and through for a minor score.
And Heath Culpert is the man coming on to replace Scott Camporelli.
Good experience with the young Adelaide guy playing on Lance Whitnell, to playing him at centre half back, and then maybe in another 12 months' time get down to centre half forward and actually try and emulate his moves that Lance has played today.
Ian Perry, I think, has also been taken from the ground, Doug.
Yeah, it looks that way. KB has been taken from the ground. Probably a bit of a spell. He's been pretty reasonable.
And young Bound has just come on, a young boy from Norwood. Reputation of being a very strong mark. Now, Ian Perry's dropped a couple of marks in this quarter, so maybe that's the thinking behind bringing on young Bound, number 44 for the Crows. Beaumont sets it up, got it across to Houlihan. Hasn't had many touches today. Deep in the forward line.
Oh, big grab.
It's taken by Quarter.
To Lance Whitnell, I think. Over the shoulder was the infringement signalled by the umpire. It was a big pack. I've got to tell you, Mark Porter moved a few of them out of the way as he came in. That's just strength. Look, he was sandwiched in between 2. But in the end, well, it seemed to be a rather fortunate free kick.
He might be a threat this year up forward, Porter. Just watching him today, capable of taking a big grab. And
well, all of a sudden, instead of having to rotate your ruckman or your big men off the bench, if you can get a use for them up forward, it's very handy.
And Lance Whitnell has threaded it through. He's got 3.
They're outnumbered then too, Carlton, with 2 to about 4 players from Adelaide, and as well done, as you say. Mark Porter really did bollock his way around in the pack and got rid of a couple of guys, made it easier for Lance Whitnell to get in front, which he always plays from anyway in the front. And a very clever kick. I mean, there's nowhere else to go other than the top of the square, which he did do. As you can see, there's no other space. Looking back, there's 4 players and 2 Carlton players. A good grab from Porter in the first instance, but Lance Whitnell finished off with a good goal.
Well, the Blues now within 2 points. They trailed by 6 points at quarter time, 16 points at half time. Now they've got a sniff. Allen in the ruck against Biglands. Gallagher thought he had it and lost it. Plunkett kicked an early goal. McKay was under pressure. Beaumont, hands and knees, and pulled off the ball was Plunkett. So the ball will come back. Young Jimmy Plunkett played a very good game last week, playing on Scotty West. Started well today with a goal in that first quarter. He's had a bit of a breather on the bench as well. Ange Christou, 10 possessions in this third term across half-back. Adelaide's last goal came at the 12.5-minute mark of the second quarter.
She's
so
run
that
a long
back line has been so strong for the Blues. Houlihan kicks into Crowell. They need a cool head. McLeod was the man to Gallagher, to Stevens, to Robran. So some run coming out of defence. Stenglein. It's been very, very handy. It's his 12th possession. The kick was a poor one. It was a floater and too high. Manton was desperate. So was Robran. Caught high.
Oh.
No free kick. Toss
Umpire
back
felt
in.
that he ducked and he let play go.
I was watching that young Houlihan on the other side of the ground here earlier on, just the way he moved and got around a couple of opponents and balked and weaved and used his hips. Just a very stylish player for a young guy.
He's only had the 6 possessions today. I'd
Quite
like to see
day.
him do a little bit more. That kick then, of course, he didn't weigh up his options quickly enough and then finally kicked into the man.
Problem for the Crows at the moment is their midfield's just drifted out of the game. Matthew Clark's having a spell on the bench. Andrew McLeod has drifted out of the play. And whilst they were dominating there in the first half, they just don't seem to have any drive at the moment.
Andrew Merrington, number 19 for Carlton, son of Gary Merrington. Just played the one game. Inside 50. Bode. Got good hands. Good players don't fumble. McLeod. To his partner in crime, Tyson Edwards. Again, the kick's a poor one.
Gee, it was a great chase by Dean Rice just to put pressure on Tyson Edwards as he kicked that. Just chase him about 40 or 50 metres.
Massey has had the job playing on Jarman. Bradley. Good smother that time by Bassett. Massey's going to close quickly. Biglands. Conceded ground back to Latham. Kicked the goal in that first quarter. He was very handy with 8 possessions. A little bit quieter in the second. High ball.
Kick.
Good fist away that time. Came from Manton. Missed to fix it. Massey can recover. Nelson. They just can't penetrate the Blues back line in this third term. They have really, really struggled. They haven't scored in this quarter, the Crows. They were 7-7 at half-time, haven't scored. And the Blues have kicked 2 goals too. So they've got back into this game. They trailed by 2 points, a turnover. Nelson goes to ground.
Oh, it's got to be holding the
Keen
ball.
to impress.
Oh, geez, lucky there.
He had ample opportunity to dispose of the ball then. Could consider himself rather lucky, I think.
Young
Heath
Colbert.
Yeah,
Young Colbert.
You just see there he had his hands free. He rolled
Turned him
over with the
over.
ball. He's still holding it.
Might have just got knocked out of his hand momentarily, but a bit lucky. Sure. High tackle. Manton to Plunkett.
Just overusing it a bit, Carlton, at the moment.
The Blues are breaking quickly from defence, but maybe they are overusing it a bit, Justin. Doing a lot of short passing across that half-back line. Coming in hard was Houghton. Smart. They need to score, the Crows, just to lift the spirits. High ball. Backing back. Free ball.
Quite a few turnovers of Crows too, haven't they? Just bombing the ball into the half-forward line, and Christo and Manton and Massey just lapping it all up and taking marks on their own most of the time.
Looks a real prospect, Freeborn. 18 games last year. One of those young players, I'm certain Wayne Brinton is hoping to take the next step or punch back over the line, that time by Stevens.
Jason, you were saying before, mate, that the midfield of the Crows has certainly slowed down a bit. Maybe Simon Goodwin or a Mark Bickley up a half-back flank with 5 minutes on the ball could be a bit of an option.
They probably need to get 1 or 2 of their more experienced players into the middle.
Again, we saw that graphic. 12.5 minutes since of the second quarter was the last time the Crows scored a goal. Manton, a couple of old heads for Carlton across that half-back line doing well. McKay and Christo having an absolute picnic. Pumps the ball wide and finds Houlihan.
Yeah, they've gone longer than a quarter now without a goal, the Crows. That's a worry.
To Bradley. The general loves to set it up. Finds Plunkett. They'll run hard out of defence. Massey runs off Jarman. Should run his full 15 metres before bouncing the ball.
That was a great run.
Does it well in the end. Good vision. Finds Beaumont.
Great running from the half-back line.
But no need to bounce the
100
ball.
metres.
Just run with the ball 15 metres. You don't have to bounce the ball twice in the whole length of the centre square.
It's funny that, KB, because a lot of players you do notice as soon as they get it and they realise they have space, the first thing they do is bounce.
Only need 2 bounces. You have a look at the length of the centre square, just 2 bounces. Every 15 metres, it's 45. You run 15, take a bounce, run another 15, take a bounce, and you kick it at the point of the square. And you get yourself balanced, and you can look upfield. Beaumont. Well, he kicked 8 goals and a half against Collingwood once, and then Matthew Allen reminded him at half-time that Fred Fanning's record was only 18.
Came to an abrupt halt.
Never got another kick. Must have went to his head. Stevens kicks long. Smart was Indian arm wrestle that time with Houlihan. Will take the free kick.
You're just saying, Jason, before about Darren Jarman, he hasn't got many faults in his game, but there's only one fault in his game, and that is picking up a player or a younger player running down the ground out of the Crows forward line.
Yeah, you're right there, Dougie. He certainly didn't like having to chase half the length of the ground either behind Chris Massey.
Smart. He's looking for Bassett. Worked his way to the front. McKay, the tackler. and a ball up. 65 metres out from Adelaide's goal. 7.9.51 to 7.8.50. So the Crows still to get a goal in this third term, 12.5-minute mark in the second quarter. Led by 16 points at half-time. Now they lead by 1 point. Gallagher sees the ball over the line in front of young Pickering for Carlton, number 46. Just a second year off the rookie list. Biglands and Allen. To lock horns. Boundary throw in centre wing. Give it to Biglands. Trapped it well was Gallagher. Young man from Victoria, from Clayton.
Oh, dangerous kick.
Too much carry for Robert. Hitting the ball hard was Rice. Puts himself on the line. Colbert.
Now, that's a couple of those they've let go in the space of a couple of minutes, and I think they've taken the approach that if the player with the ball in any way drops his head, they will not pay the tackle for over the top, and that looked to be a high tackle.
Yeah, he didn't drop his head, really, did he?
No.
I mean, it wasn't as if he ducked his head. I mean,
It's a natural reaction to pull it in, though, when you're ready to get tackled, isn't it?
Took some invasive action. Good handball by Plunkett. Gives across to Nelson. Unloads a big bomb, kicks it long. Backing back was Porter. Needs support. Here it comes. Beaumont.
Well, Beaumont kicked the goal, but it would have been a free kick to Porter, 15 metres out directly in front, and that's a beauty with only 5 seconds remaining in the third quarter. After some good work, some quick hands in here. Plunkett's been very good this quarter since coming back on the ground. Nelson running through from halfback, drove the ball long. You can just see the left arm from Stevens hanging on to Mark Porter, and in the end, the umpire was in the process of paying the free kick. He saw the ball run free to Beaumont, waved on, play advantage, and a goal to the Blues. And they've hit the front.
Beaumont's first goal of the match, and yes, 8-8-56. Carlton have hit the front, 7-9-51 by 5 points. Now it's a testing time for the Crows as the siren sounds. So maybe a psychological plus for the Blues. They go into the last quarter, 5 points up, 8-8-56 to 7-9-51.
Well, it is an interesting one. If the breeze is favouring either end, it's probably slightly towards the end that Adelaide will be kicking in this last quarter. But 2 points only for the Crows in that quarter, and at three-quarter time they trail the Blues by 5 points.